announce the masterclass for tomorrow because I'll probably forget.
Okay.
So, okay. We are live. Let me go ahead and go live on IG in a second. Okay. See what we got here. Folks, takes a while for StreamYard to warm up here a little bit. So we're going to get started in just 1 second. We're going live on about 4 or 5 different platforms. We're going to go live here on IG as well. Let's go ahead and start going live. We'll go live on TikTok, IG, and see what we've got here. Okay, so we are live today. Today is Thursday, July 21st, I think, something like that. You know, we're almost into August. Summer's almost over here in another month. A recession is on the loom. And as a sales professional, as a sales executive, maybe you're in sales leadership, sales management, maybe you're the business owner of the company or the CEO, things are probably going to get pretty interesting. I remember going through the crash of 2008, 2009 as a young sales professional. I remember all the terror in the salespeople's eyes in my company that I was working for. My friends were in sales in other companies, and most of their incomes went down by 50 to 60%. Half of them got their jobs cut. And here's old Jeremy Miner, my sales more than doubled. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. We're going to do a Q&A today. Q&A. Rick, do you believe leaving voicemails, say after 3 answers? So what tips do you have or alternatives if not? Yes, Rick, we'll talk. That's an interesting question. I'll actually answer your question first, Rick. All right. So today I've only got about 30 minutes to do a Q&A. All right. Now make sure you write this down. So we're going live here on my desktop. We're on StreamYard. So we're going live inside our Facebook group, Sales Revolution. Got about 26,000 of you guys running around in there. Our YouTube channel, LinkedIn, my Facebook business page. Got about 67,000 of you on that sucker. We're going live on our TikTok phone. We call this the TikTok phone. It's like the Batman phone. So we got about 40,000 of you following us over there. We just started a TikTok account 2 months ago. We love TikTok. You guys are like the wild, wild west. And then we're going live here on Instagram, IG, all right? Zach Adams Simpson, W-2 or 1099 sales rep. Is that a question? Well, it depends on your industry. I don't know if that's a question or what you're asking, but I was in my 17-year sales career, I was in 4 different industries. I was W-2'd in 3 of those and 1099 in 1 of those. My last job basically is a 1099 rep. I just negotiated that for tax purposes, and they would have done anything to hire me anyways. They might have given me like one of their jets to get me to sell for them. I'm just joking. But anyways, well, actually, I'm not joking. But 1099 has better tax benefits if that's what you're asking me. Okay, now we're going to go through a Q&A for about 30 minutes. Now, when you ask me a question, tell me I sell this. It's better for me if you ask a question, I know what industry you're in. So I know kind of if you're B2C sales, B2B, but be specific. I sell cars, I sell insurance, I sell cybersecurity, I sell real estate, I sell whatever it is. I sell SaaS, okay, whatever it is. We train 158 industries at this point. According to Forbes magazine, there are actually only 158 industries. I didn't even know that. There's subsets of those, and we're all in those subsets now. Now, if you have been following us for a while, if you've not been living underneath the rock, my name is Jeremy Miner. I'm the chairman and founder of 7th Level. We're a global sales training organization, and we train salespeople exactly like you watching me here right now. Watching me on IG, our Facebook group, YouTube, LinkedIn, watching here on TikTok. We are a company that helps salespeople like you, sales management like you, sales executives like you, sales leaders like you, coaches, consultants like you, entrepreneurs, business owners like you, and we help you and your teams transform the way they sell by learning specific skilled questions and techniques that actually work with human behavior. Work with human behavior. What do you mean by that, Jeremy? Rather than work against it. If we don't know the difference in that, that means we're triggering a lot of sales resistance on our calls, which is leading to a lot of objections, which is causing you to lose a lot of deals that our clients who sell exactly what you are now are making those deals. That's the income gap and the difference, okay? So we teach you what's called neuro-emotional persuasion questioning. That stands for NEPQ. With the right tonality, okay? That's the delivery part. Put your prospects at ease it disarms the prospect. It causes them to want to let their guard down, and they become far more open to you and want to engage with you. All right. Now, if you want to learn those type of skills that our clients are learning right now or have learned, who sell exactly what you are now, if you want to start making your first 10 grand a month in commissions in the industry you're in right now, if you want to start making 15 grand a month in commissions in the industry, I'm not saying inconsistent, I'm saying consistently every month. You want to start making 20 grand in commissions every month with what you sell, your industry. Okay. Let's say you're already doing well. How do you go to 25 or 30 grand a month in commissions? How are you going to go to 35 or 40 or 50 grand a month in commissions if you just keep saying and asking the same old used questions you have that has gotten you here? How are you going to get here doing that? You're going to work twice as many hours? You already work 10. You're going to work 20 hours a day? Probably not. All right. So if you want to learn those type of skills, just DM me directly right now. If you're on IG, just DM me directly. We got like 120,000 of you followers on IG. You know, we just started on IG 7 months ago. That's crazy. That thing's grown like a mofo. I didn't even know what IG was till 7 months ago. I never could care less about it. But we love you now on IG. All right. So if you're on TikTok, message me directly. If you're in our Facebook group here on my desktop or YouTube or LinkedIn, message me directly. YouTube, you can't. You have to just post hashtag NEPQ, and either myself or someone on my team, they'll identify themselves, say, I'm XYZ with 7th level. They'll message you some options if you want to learn those type of skills like our clients have who sell exactly what you are now. Okay. Now, so when you have a question, just tell me what your just say, I sell this. Here's my question. All right. I'm going to try to answer probably 6, 7 of these. I know we'll get 100 questions. I'll do my best to answer yours. I've only got about 25 minutes. All right. Okay. Now, also, the board of directors told me to come in here to the office and tell you this. If you've not registered for our free objection obliteration masterclass tomorrow, make sure you register like right now. We open that up to, I want to say 3,000 registrations. I think we're literally like 20 people away from filling that event. Okay. I'm not joking. I could care less if you show up or not. It's you. If you don't learn those skills, that's no impact on me. But make sure you register for the masterclass. It's going to be tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern. It's a 2-hour masterclass tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern. And all I'm going to train on are objections you're getting now that are costing you lost deals and sales and commissions that you could be making if you knew how to help your prospects overcome those. I want to think it over. I need to pray about this. I don't make rash decisions. We don't have the money for this. I'm busy. Can you call me back later? We're not interested right now. Tell you what, leave your information. I'll get back to you if we're interested later. How many lose sales to that? You know what? This sounds really good, but do you have some references I can talk to? And then you send them and they never get back to you. You get on a call, outbound lead. I'm really busy right now. Can you just send me a quote? Can you just send me a proposal in my email? Can you just send me some information? I need to talk with my spouse. I need to talk with the board and we'll get back to you if we're interested. How many of you lose sales just from those objections I just gave you? Well, we're going to cover a lot of those tomorrow in the masterclass. It's free. You don't even have to pay for it. 5 o'clock Eastern. You have to register for it. You're not allowed in. Okay. So make sure you message me directly and say masterclass. So just message me directly in the DMs, masterclass, and somebody on my team will send over either me. I'll get off here in a little bit and message you, or somebody on my team will message you the link to register. Okay. Let's answer a few questions here. Rick Van House. I thought this was an excellent question that can help anybody. Do you believe in leaving voicemail, say after 3 no answers? Well, first of all, you want to leave a voicemail when they don't answer on the first call, because here's why. And I want you to, Rick, I want you to put yourself in your prospect shoes. Think like a buyer thinks, not like a salesperson thinks. When you get a number that continually calls you and you can see the number and you don't answer and they don't leave a voicemail, what goes off in your mind? Spam, salesperson, telemarketer. And so when that number keeps coming up on your caller ID, you're probably never going to return the call. So you want to leave a message, but it has to be a message where they actually want to call you back. It can't be a message like, hey, are you interested in XYZ solution? Because they're not going to call you back. So let me give you an example. There's a difference in calling and leaving a message if somebody booked on your calendar an inbound lead, it didn't show up, compared to what you would say if, let's say, somebody responded to some type of ad on Facebook interested in what you are possibly offering, but they want to know more details. It's like an outbound lead compared to a lead who's not a lead and you're just cold calling a company. Those messages are going to be tweaked differently. So I'm going to give you an example. Let's say, I'll just throw something. Let's say you call an outbound lead. So Rick, I don't know what you do, but let's say next time, tell me what you do. And I can just script it for you right here. All right. We train everybody. So let's say it's an outbound lead. They respond to some ad on YouTube, Facebook, or whatever, and you're calling them back. They left their name, email, phone number. They know somebody's calling them. They just don't know who it is or what time. So let's say they don't answer. Now, I don't know what you sell, so I'm just going to make something up. All right. Hey, John, this is just Rick Van House. Looks like you had responded to one of our ads yesterday morning, maybe around 9-10 in the morning, about looking at possible outside help in really growing and scaling your company. And I just had time to get back to you to see if I could help. Now, I'm going to be available here for a little bit today. I'll leave you my number. It's 575-654-4565. And like I said, I'll be available here for a little bit today. If you don't reach me, just text me on that number and I'll text you a time when I can actually get back to you. Talk to you then. Okay. That's the first message. Now, if you leave a first message like that, now you would design it for what you sell. In that example, let's say that you sell business consulting and you help companies scale and grow their companies. I just threw something out. If it was insurance, obviously it would be insurance related, but it would be that same formula. If you sold cars, same formula. If you sold cybersecurity, same formula. It doesn't really matter. It's the same formula. You just plug in that gap. Okay. Now, the second day, if they don't, now, most of the time you leave that type of message, I would say probably 40 to 50% of an outbound lead are going to call you back from just that message. If they requested information, if they filled out some type of form. Okay. Like I said, it's a little bit different on a cold call voicemail. You would script it differently than that. I don't know if you cold call or just call outbound leads. Second day, hey, John, this is Jerry Acuff with XYZ. Looks like you had responded to one of our ads about A, B, and C. And I did try to reach you yesterday and left a message, but I didn't hear back from you. So I'll be available here for a little bit today. Like I said, here's my number, blah, 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 blah. Like I said, I'll be available here for just a little bit today. You have to see if you can get a hold of me. Now, why would I say because I'll be available just for a little bit today? Because that triggers that you're busy. Like you don't just sit around waiting for the phone for a prospect. You got lots of clients. Your company's getting your clients to a lot of success, whatever you sell. So you're busy. You're not attached to them. You're detached. All right. It's like a privilege that they can call you back and get a hold of you. Okay. Now on the third day, it's a very similar message. And typically on the fourth day, because we train companies how to do this as well. It's all in our virtual training courses. The whole formula is scripted out for cold calling, outbound, inbound. If they miss an appointment, all that's in there, plus, a billion other things in the virtual training platform. I don't know if you're one of our clients or not. But on the last message, so we teach not to leave more than 4 messages, which would be the fourth day. Because if you keep calling 17 different times and they don't, and you never leave a message or leave a couple messages, just like you're in chase mode and they are never going to get back with you more than likely. Let's just be real. So on the fourth day, hey, John, this is Jane Kelly. Looks like you had responded to one of our ads about X, Y, and Z. I did try to reach you about 2 or 3 times in the last few days. I left a few messages, a few emails, but I did not hear back from you. So this will be my final attempt to reach you. So if you want to reach me, here's my number one last time. It's XYZ, XYZ. And like I said, this will be my final attempt to reach you. Boom. Now, when you do that, we find in our data from the companies we train that almost half of those people you leave a final message for call you back, like instantly. When you basically you're done with them, you're not doing it in a mean way. It's a privilege to call you back. You've got other clients. You don't have time to sit there and call them all day. But when you do that, it triggers them like people want what they can't have. You see the difference in that, Rick? Okay. So you can get almost 50% of the people to call back. Oh, hey, so sorry. My grandma got put in the nursing home. I've been really busy. I was on vacation. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to get back to you. And then the ones who don't get back to you, typically we teach companies to recycle those leads and send them to another salesperson in the company about 3 to 4 weeks later and start that process over. So Rick, that was a long answer, but hopefully that helped you and everybody else on here with that issue. Okay. All right. Let me go through some more questions here. Let's see. Bro, you got a lot of commercial insurance agents as clients? Yes. from so Goodrich. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it. This is on my IG phone here. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we trained over 351,000 and counting. It might even be more than that. I looked at that about a month ago. So we trained over 351,000 salespeople. Tons in your industry. We train big companies in your industry as well that, I've got people in your industry that make 30, 40, 50 grand, 60 grand, 70 grand a month in commissions, just so you know. Been a fan since Pinnacle days. Oh my gosh, that was my first sales job. That's crazy. That's awesome. I probably know you then. Okay. Fred is asking on Fred Knapp on IG. I sell digital marketing. Thanks for telling me what you sell, my man. Many of our inbound leads are from non-decision makers. How do you proceed? Well, it's easy. Of course, okay, I'm assuming you sell B2B, right? So they're sending like some type of C-level executive to you. You're never going to have like a CEO of a pretty decent sized company like call out and get on a sales call, right? So they're going to send a C-level executive for you. So all you do is you take them through the discovery process and you find out who the other decision makers are, and then you book the next call. Now, like I said, I'd have to know more details about what your sales process is. I'm just throwing mud against the wall. I'm making some assumptions. But you're in B2B sales, you're more than likely, unless you're dealing with like a small ma and pa laundromat on the corner, or like, let's say that you sell merchant services to like retail shops, you're probably not going to be dealing with the decision maker on that first call or that first encounter. Some type of C-level executive or somebody, department head, that they're basically on a discovery call. You take them through the discovery process, that first call, pull out their emotions. Now, there's a lot of training, all that virtual training. We show you how to do that in all of our virtual training courses, B2C and B2B. And then at the end of that, when you're trying to book, let's say a second call demo or a second call proposal, whatever you do, I don't know if you do a demo or proposal as your next step. We train a lot of companies in your space. They do different things. But if I want to find the decision makers in that company, I want to say, well, besides you, who's the other decision makers? It's so corny. Like people just freeze up when you say that. You don't want to say that. Most of the time they're like, well, no, I'll get back with you. I'm interested. Okay. So, Joanne, good first call. Really the next step would be, so that gives us more details. That kind of helps us understand a little bit more about what's going on. Really the next step would be, if it's appropriate, is we would probably book some type of demo with I think you said your head of your IT, your head of your marketing department, and go over how we blah, 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 blah. Would that help you? Yeah, sure. That would help me. You book the appointment and then you say, now, Mary, before I leave, can you walk me through your company's decision-making process when it comes to solving these type of marketing challenges that you brought up with me? Can you walk me through your company's decision-making process when it comes to solving X, Y, and Z? And you just repeat back the problem. Now, hopefully that's what you're asking me right now, okay? Because you've on that second, let's say you're doing a demo or a proposal or the next meeting, whatever your next step is in your process, you want to have at least a decision maker on there with the C-level executive. Okay, now I don't typically with companies, I don't know if you sell to enterprise or SMB. Like I said, I'd have more time if we had more time on here. But typically, if you're selling to enterprise accounts, you're not closing on the second call. All right, now if it's an SMB, maybe second, third call, fourth call, fifth call. Sometimes it has to go through legal. Sometimes you have to talk with the board. It just depends. But the point is like each of your steps. Like the first call, discovery call with the C-level executive. Second call, let's say it's a demo with the C-level executive and a department head. That's maybe an influencer or part of the decision making. Then the third step is, meeting with XYZ, another decision maker. It's like a progression. So you're asking little commitment questions to progress, to get them to commit to take smaller steps that lead to the ultimate decision of actually purchasing what you're offering to solve their problems. All right. Hopefully that answered your question. All right, Matthew from the Facebook group, Matthew B. Miller, how do you practice detachment without coming across aloof? Well, okay, so here's what everybody needs to understand, okay? This is just behavioral science 101. Within the first 7 to 12 seconds of any sales conversation you're in, okay, whether that's door-to-door, whether that's meeting in a boardroom meeting with 8 to 10 decision makers, whether that's meeting in a home, B2C customer, whether that's on Zoom on an inbound lead, whether that's on a phone call, could be an outbound or a cold call. Your prospects, okay, are picking up social cues from you. based on your tonality, like your verbal and nonverbal cues, based on your tonality and your body language, that triggers their brain to react in one of two ways. Might be important for everybody to know how this works, okay? If you come across in your conversations aggressive, if you come across like you're posturing them, if you come across overly assumptive, if you come across attached, and you know if you're attached, the commission breath is out. It triggers the human, and you don't understand the right questions to ask to disarm them. It triggers the human brain to go into what's called fight or flight mode. Fight mode is they fight you with objections. I'm not interested. We already have somebody for that. Get lost. Okay. Flight mode is where they're like, oh, this sounds really good, but I tell you what, I'm really busy right now. Can you call me back later in the day? And then you call back. They surprisingly don't answer. That's because you triggered fight or flight mode. Okay. And they try to get rid of you. Does that make sense? Now, once you understand, once you start to learn what we train our clients in our virtual training courses and programs, in our group training exercises, NEPQ, neuro emotional persuasion question, you're going to learn on your calls how to come across more neutral, more unbiased. You're not quite sure if you can even help yet. Now, you're not coming out and saying, I don't know if we can even help you. Our product sucks. That's not what I mean. But when I get on there, yeah, we'd have to find out more details about X, Y, and Z to make sure we could actually help. Because there's some companies that might not even need us. Now, when you say that, what that does is it disarms the prospect. It triggers them to become more open to you because you're unbiased. You don't know enough about their situation to see if you even can help them or how you can help them. How could you know? Now, when you get on the call, do you really know? Of course. They responded to an ad. They filled out a form. They got with you. Even if you cold call, you know they have problems that you can solve. But the moment you're aggressively telling them that you can solve their problems in the first 30 seconds and your solution's so good for them, and you don't even know what their situation is the moment they do what? They emotionally shut down. Okay? You've triggered fight or flight mode. So when we teach you how to become more neutral, more unbiased, collective, we call that collective confidence, and especially detached. Okay? And we teach you the right questions to ask with the right tonality. That's the key. And it triggers the brain to become curious enough where the prospect wants to engage with you. They want to open up to you, okay? Because we're going to teach you how to disarm them where they let their guard down and they feel comfortable with you because they don't feel like you're selling them, okay? When we teach you, what our clients tell us is that their prospects don't even feel like they're being sold to, but yet they're all buying. How is that possible? Because they know how to disarm the prospect, okay? So that's what I mean by practicing detachment, all right? All right. Let's see, Patrick, it's a pleasure, sir. Looking into getting into sales after 17 years of firefighter paramedic. You can make a lot of money, Patrick, as a sales professional if you learn the right skills. Now, if you learn traditional selling skills, you're going to beat your head against the wall, and you can still make decent money. You wouldn't make the same amount of money our clients are that are probably going to be in the same industry. And see, it's all about learning the right skills, Patrick. You'll make a lot of money. Okay. Oh, I see, Rick Van House. Advertising services. I finally saw that. Let's see here. What's some other questions here? I've got so many questions on IG. Let's go over here to TikTok. Somebody asked me, Steve Olson, what do you think of the sales tenacity shown in the movie Wolf on Wall Street? I think it's a good movie. I think it's really funny. However, it took place in the 80s and consumers were much different in the 80s, okay, than they are now, okay? Could you get away with talking like that to the prospect on the phone? First of all, they didn't have caller IDs back in the 80s. So when you called the home, everybody answered, right? Because it could be somebody important. 20 years ago, you start having caller ID, you can't even get through like that. Okay. So do I believe that that's the right way to sell? I think it did decent in the 80s. Do I think it works that well anymore? No. I mean, I know it doesn't. I mean, we train companies that go through that type of training. And when we come in and we help grow their business by 500% compared to the company that trained them, boiler room selling techniques, I mean, it's a no-brainer. Today's consumer is an information age consumer. They're far more cautious, far more skeptical than they ever been before. So if you're talking about, hey, I got a great opportunity for you, and then you pitch them and you try to posture them and tell them why they should go with you, and you got the best this and the best that, which, by the way, doesn't every salesperson who's ever tried to sell something tell you they have the best product or service in the market? How many salespeople do you know that say, yeah, John, we have the 5th best service in the market? Nobody. So your prospects are used to salespeople saying that they have the best this or that. We've got the best quality. We've got the best customer service. We've got the JD awards. We've got the best clients. We've got the best owners. We've got the best this. And so when you sound like every other salesperson who's ever tried to sell them something, you don't stand out. You sound like everybody else. And because of that, you lower your status in their brain, and they push you over in the corner, and they commoditize you, and they try to get rid of you. So do I believe boiler room selling works? I mean, I can just tell you what our clients say that go through those type of courses. When we're able to quadruple their earnings or their company's revenue and profit margins. So hopefully that answers your question. It's not 1985, it's 2022. We are in a different age, folks. Start thinking like a buyer and stop acting like a seller. Okay. Love how the guy recognizes you at the airport. Oh yeah, Matthew, that was funny. No, it's crazy. It's like I started doing reels on IG back in January, and then we started doing reels on TikTok about 2 months ago. And some of those reels have like 800,000 views or 500,000 views. I don't feel like I can go anywhere with that. Somebody like, are you that guy on IG? Are you guy on that TikTok guy or whatever? I'm like, what? I've had like 5 neighbors that I've literally never known. And I live in a huge neighborhood that if like are walking by, like jogging in the morning. I'm walking out to, are you the Jeffrey Miner? No, Jeremy Miner. Yeah, I follow you on IG. Like I'm a financial advisor here in town, or, you know, whatever. I'm at the airport. I'm at the gym. The guy working out with me a couple of weeks ago at CrossFit, who I've seen for like a year. He always works out like 3 spaces down. I've never said a word to him. He's never talked to me. He comes and say, hey, I started following you about a week ago. I sell insurance and blah, blah, blah. Like your stuff is so good. I just bought your program, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, gosh, anyways, that's interesting. All right. Let's see what other question. Enough about me. Who cares about me? Margie. Sorry, Margie. I registered for objection obliteration. Is it being recorded? I won't be able to attend, but I don't want to miss it. It will be recorded. It will only be available for 24 hours though. We have it when we do these trainings, we make it a container. It's like, it's time to get serious about your sales profession now. We don't just say, oh, just go through it in the next year, because it's not going to help you. So we make it like a 24-hour container. So if you miss the live, you'll have about 24 hours to go through the recorded version, Margie, but it will get sent out. You want to be on the live though, because you can ask me questions. Okay. Let's see here. So many questions here. I sell fitness and nutrition coaching. I get leads organically and through my Facebook group. Would it be reasonable to complete my triage in Messenger as opposed to? No, I mean, you could, Thomas Miller, but you're not going to have the same conversion rates. You're not going to be able to pull out even 10%. You're not going to be able to pull out the emotion that you're able to pull out on a triage call, because you can't hear their tone. They can't hear your tone. You can't build a gap in their mind. You can build somewhat of a gap in DMs, but it's not going to be as big of a gap as you can build on a phone call or on Zoom. So I would definitely recommend you do 2-call close for sure. Okay. Let's go over here. I buy, sell real estate. Marvin Ramirez. What's good cold text to use for homeowners in foreclosure? Most of the time I do have their name. Ooh. Yeah, I would. Well, we teach a lot of people in your space too. Let me share you a little secret. All right. So I'll give you this little tip here. So in a text, I would say, hey, John, this is just Marvin. This is Marvin Ramirez. I'm holding a copy of your tax records on the 555 Willow Street property in Durham, North Carolina. And I had a couple of questions on this. I should be available here for a little bit today. You can actually reach me on this number I'm texting you from. Talk to you then. Now, if you got a text like that or a voicemail like that, because we actually teach you how to leave voicemails like that in your space. Hey, John, this is Marvin Ramirez. I'm holding a copy of your tax records on the 555 Willow Street property in Willow Springs, Georgia. And I had a couple of questions from what I read here. If you could call me back on this number, 555-655, I'll be available here for a little bit today. If you don't get me, leave a voicemail, and then I should be able to get back to you by the end of the day. Talk to you then. If you got a voicemail like that, do you think you're going to be like, they're holding a copy of my county tax records on this property? When we instituted that with some companies and salespeople said what you did, their response rate went from like 5% to like 75% just by that voicemail. So try that on text, but they usually do voicemail. Hopefully that helped you as well. You're welcome. All right. Let's see. What is the best close? BJ94. BJ94. Okay. Closing is probably one of the most misunderstood things ever in the history of sales or selling. The sale is not won or lost with the close at the end. Like, do you want the red one or the blue one? Do you want to take delivery Tuesday at 4 or Wednesday at 5? Who should the contract's name be? Your spouse's or yours? That's not where the sale's made. The sale is made during the discovery part of that sales process, where your advanced questioning skills that you can learn start building a gap in the prospect's mind from where they are. We call that their current state, compared to where they want to be. We call that their objective state. Now, what's the gap in between? The gap is only determined in that prospect's mind by your skill level, by your questioning ability that allows them to see all of these newfound problems that they didn't even know they had before they got on that call with you. Okay? That is where the sale's made. So at the end, you don't need to say, do you want the red one or the blue one? Why don't you give it a try? Or the puppy dog close. All that stuff is just BS. You're learning stuff that has been around for the dinosaur ages of selling, wondering why you're not making multiple 6 figures or more in commissions like our clients are who sell what you are. It's because it's not your fault. You've been forced to learn from your company and the gurus skills that work against human behavior. So if you take them through the right sales process, you learn NEPQ like our clients have. And hey, if you want to learn that, just post hashtag NEPQ on here, or just message me directly. We'll message you back some details on how you can learn that if you want to sell like that. So you get to the end and you just simply ask, so John, do you feel like after you've been able to build this gap, because their internal tension and there's a major difference between internal tension in the prospect's body and mind compared to you putting external sales pressure on them. External sales pressure is external, like it's not inside of them. You're just trying to push them and they do what? They push back. Internal tension is determined by your question ability and your tonality ability that allows them to see how big of a gap there is from where they are compared to where they want to be. And the bigger you're able to get that gap in their mind from your questioning ability and how you bridge from question to question that opens them up emotionally where they go below the surface, determines how much internal tension they feel. And when human beings feel internal tension, they do what? They want to get away from that pain. They want to solve that pain. That's why they buy your product or service. It's not by asking them if they want the red one or the green one at the end. Closing has nothing. Closing is like 5% of your sales success. The other 95% is determined from your questioning ability, your tonality ability, and how you're able to disarm the prospect where they go below the surface with you and actually trust you. And we can teach you those skills if that's what you want. Okay, so just message me directly. All right, but internal tension is where they feel so much tension. They feel it that they're just like, I have to change my situation and I have to do it now. Okay, so hopefully that answered your question. All right, I got time for one more quick question here. Let's see here. There's so many good questions here. When placing your selling price, do you consider it at an early stage to set your profit at a 50% at the beginning of the deal, or should I start a low rate and increase with time? I'm not sure what you're asking me there, so I'm going to keep going, Maureen. Ask me that question again sometime. Foundation and basement repair and home sales were on the high end and losing to low quotes frequently. Yeah. So Dara, you're losing because we train thousands of people in your space. We've got companies that started with us that were making $1 million a year in sales that now make $50 or $70 million a year. Small companies that are now massive. Got salespeople in your industry, Daryl, that went from making 5 or 10 grand a month that may make 30, 40, 50 grand a month. I've got people, I just interviewed a guy in our Facebook group 2 weeks ago that makes 80 grand a month in commissions now after going through NPQ, Daryl. He was making about 10 about 2 years ago when he started. So you have to build a gap. You're not building a gap. And so when you're not building a gap from where they are compared to where they want to be, and that gap's small, that means you've got them thinking cost-based thinking rather than results-based thinking. Okay, now I don't have time to go through why that is, because I actually have a meeting about 7 minutes ago. They're like knocking on my door there. They're getting angry. So guys, make sure you register for the free masterclass if you want to learn how to overcome any objection you're getting right now. So if you get objections right now that you lose sales every week and you want to stop the bleeding and stop the pain because, oh, I can assure you, it's coming. The recession is coming. I can smell it in the air, and I know you can too. Anytime the government tells you not to worry, anytime Wall Street says it's okay, is exactly what they said in 2008 and 2009, and you know you got whopped in the face. So if you want to learn the skills to prepare for that, because if you were in sales then, you know it gets harder to sell when there's a recession. Companies and prospects are telling you, hold on to their money. They have more fear. They have tighter resources with inflation. So if you sell the same way you are now, what's going to happen? You're going to make even less than you are now. And with inflation going up and you making less, what are you going to do then? So if you would rather control your destiny rather than hope and pray a recession doesn't happen, which you have no control of, you might want to show up to the free 2-hour masterclass tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern, Objection, Obliteration Masterclass, where for 2 hours, Matt Rioter and I, the CEO of 7th Level, I'm the chairman, are going to go through all of these different objections and show you how to prevent most of them from happening by words you're using, how to eliminate those, objection prevention. And if you do get an objection in there, we're going to show you how to help your prospect overcome them. So message me masterclass right now. Me or someone on my team will message you the registration link. Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow on the masterclass, 5 p.m. Eastern. Don't be late. We're starting right on time. See you guys then.
Perfect. I didn't even have to say anything. I was just going to mention the masterclass. But
Perfect.